You know, it's scary how a day can start off normal and suddenly turn into a tragedy. Well, what could have been a tragedy? The Clamden family was just having what sounded like the most typical Saturday morning kid still in pajamas. Mom cooking breakfast, dad lost in his newspaper.
That's right. You could almost picture the scene everyone, assuming the day would just unfold like it always had. There's something oddly comforting about daily or weekly rituals, but we can quickly see how fragile they really are.
Totally. It's like we all expect life to follow this predictable script, and then out of nowhere, everything can change. The Clamdens had no warning, no ominous music before a tragic scene. Just a regular morning.
It reminds me how quickly routines can unravel. 1 minute it's breakfast, the next it's chaos. And the scariest part? It usually comes without any kind of heads up.
Exactly. And what struck me is how ordinary all those details were. The dad working on a deadline, kids bringing dishes to the sink, mom calling her best friend. Nothing felt out of place.
Yeah, even those tiny moments, the mom closing the balcony doors, turning on the air conditioner, just everyday stuff. But somewhere in all that routine, something slipped. Little Johnny went missing, and no one even noticed at first.
That actually reminds me of how easy it is to miss one little thing. You do something on autopilot, and before you know it, you're asking yourself, did I really lock that door? Or did I leave the stove on? But then the switch flips. The moment Susie asked, "Where's Johnny?" You could almost feel the parents' stomachs drop. That dread must have hit like a train.
My heart just clenched reading that. 1 second you're chatting about weekend plans, the next you're sprinting for the balcony, not knowing what you'll find. That scream for Johnny, the terror in that moment, is hard to even imagine.
And both parents just dropping everything, running for the balcony, the dad's cup hitting the floor. It's such a gut-level reaction, pure instinct taking over.
It really shows how parenthood is this mix of love and constant, low-level fear. Most days it sits quiet in the background, but suddenly it can swamp you completely.
And here's where I can't help but think about fate or, a bit of luck, maybe even divine intervention. Johnny survived a fall from the 7th floor with just scratches. That's almost unbelievable.
Honestly, it gives me chills. The way the combination of trees, bushes, and soft dirt cushioned his fall, it feels like all the odds lined up in his favor. Some people would say it's a miracle. Others would call it pure chance.
Either way, that sense of relief must have been overwhelming for the parents expecting a parent's worst nightmare. But discovering little Johnny was just fine.
I keep thinking, would I have just sat there stunned or burst into tears? When things work out after so much fear, it really jumbles the emotions.
Moving past that kind of day must be so hard. Even with a happy ending, I bet that Clamden's sense of security was shaken. You start questioning all the little things you do without thinking.
I've had scares, though nothing like this, and they stick with you. Suddenly you double-check every lock, every window. You replay what happened, wondering how close you came to a different outcome.
Events like this really remind us not to take our routines for granted. Even a day that starts with pancakes and cartoons can transform in a heartbeat. And maybe, sometimes, we get lucky enough to learn from it without paying the highest price.
You said it. If anything, stories like the Clamdens push us to appreciate those quiet mornings just a little more and hold our loved ones a little tighter.